Welcome back. The only political podcast that people asked for. They said, stop it. Stop it not giving your hot takes and misinformed opinions. We need more of it. This is what we're looking for. This is what we needed. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it like everybody else. This is the dumb person's politic pod. That's why it's Politiocracy. It's for us dumbasses. I'm stupid. And everybody in politics is even dumber than me. So I'm here to explain to us other dummies. I'm actually bringing the level to a way that everyone can understand it. I'm rising the I don't know what I'm even saying anymore. But the point I'm trying to make is that I'm realizing I'm in the perfect space politically. I realize that I'm closer to correct than the average person, it seems, because when you go into the internet and you express your political opinions, which honestly, I seem like I have a lot of opinions. Most of the time it comes down to leave me alone and don't bother other people. That's like you could spiderweb out from all that, but when it comes down to it, it's just leave me alone and don't bother other people. Also leave others alone. So I don't really have a lot of political opinions. I'm kind of dumb. I'm actually extremely dumb. But when you look at the people that are involved in politics, they're dumber than your average person that you're talking to on the street. And they're fucking idiots. So what we're looking at today is the idiots on the internet that have made me realize this. So for the first time, I decided to post publicly. We have our own little world, it's in our own little community that of people. And I just, made a YouTube channel for this very podcast. And I was like, you know what, let's put some stuff out there. I post a video. I was like, hey, no one's going to see this just like all the other stuff. No. YouTube algorithm loves politics, apparently. It loves that even when they're done by misinformed idiots. It probably prefer that. Misinformed idiots are the core base of YouTube politics. So I posted something. 10,000 views later. There's 57 comments on this. Mostly positive, it seems like. But nothing to do. It barely has anything to do with me, this video. This is so very confusing that this is what's going on. So let me explain. A few weeks ago, I watched the debate, interview, some hybrid between Donald Trump and two angry, aggressive black journalists and one relatively nice, supportive lady. And they had a contentious debate and things went a little off the rail. I noticed something a little bit funny, so I cut it out of the show and I posted a video of it. To me, this is funny. This is comedy. But to some people, this is serious politics we needed to understand exactly what you meant by this, and somehow you fall on both sides of the political spectrum. So we'll watch the video and then I'll get some of the reactions. Here.
I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Are we living in South Park? We're living in South Park. He just took our jobs at us.
They took our jobs. Yeah, they took our jobs.
Is this real life? That's it. That was it. That was the entirety of the video. There is nothing more to it. I don't know. I don't know how that could have offended you. I don't know why that would make you so upset, but it did. It was inflammatory. It was shared around on much bigger platforms than I could ever imagine hearing my dumb voice on. There's Reddit forums and it's thousands and thousands of views just pouring in, and an influx of the dumbest comments imaginable. I don't understand. All of these people that you're hearing at least are claiming to want to vote in the next election. So just understand that any of your opinions mean just as much as these people. Like, really? Here, I'm gonna read this how I read it because there's no actual punctuation in this, so I'm kind of reading into it a little bit. So really, they're taking your jobs? You do a lot of roofing, construction, or fruit picking? They take jobs that none of us want. I understand why you're supporting a man whose morals and actions align perfectly with your own. I understand that being like him is something that excites you and makes you feel less significant. Now, I don't know how that could be like anything other than hilariously, ironically racist, but like the fact that you're just like, well, yeah, immigrants are going to be picking fruit, so why do you care, is hilarious. It's one of the unbelievably funny statement by that person where your argument to Donald Trump saying that there's a mass amount of immigrants coming in, there's a crazy amount of people coming over the border and we can't support it, it will affect the job market. My argument for that would be if there's a shitty job that exists, let's go with fruit picker, which I believe is probably done by a machine at this point, but let's go with fruit picker. If no one wanted to do that, if absolutely no one wanted to do that, even preteens getting their first job don't want to do this job, the salary goes up. I know that's hard to grasp. It's a really hard concept to fathom, but there's examples of it. Garbage men. It's the perfect example. A person who picks up the trash, no one wanted that job. So now they pay $45 an hour, and now it's a coveted job. You see how it's odd how that works when no one wants to clean septic tanks, the price to get someone to clean your septic tank goes up. So if no one wanted to pick fruit and there were no illegal immigrants to pay $3 an hour to do it, the price of fruit picking goes up. It goes above minimum wage because the average employee is basically a consumer at the end of the day. If you're not owning a business and you're not like running a company or something like that, if you're just an everyday salaried employee or even minimum wage employee, you're a consumer because you're like, the benefit of this job is that I'm making money. And if the job is minimum wage, you have endless amounts of them. You can work at the dollar store. You could work at McDonald's. You could work at fucking a spa being the squeegee guy. I'm sure there's a million jobs that are minimum wage out there, and you can go do that. But if the job isn't worth minimum wage, then you don't do it because you could go do that. So then you have to bump the salary up slightly. So if it's cleaning shit out of bathrooms, not a lot of people are going to want to do that. So they make the price of it go up, or they get an undocumented worker to do it, and thus kind of mitigating, like, that's another salaried position that a citizen could get that at a higher wage. If companies are forced, like, companies find money, everybody knows that most of these multi-billion-dollar companies have the money to do pretty much all of the things you want them to do. They're not going to, though, because that's money they could put in their pockets. Why would they? If everything's going smoothly and everybody likes our company, there's nothing's happening to mitigate us taking profits, why would we do that? But if no one was willing to clean the bathrooms anymore, that's a problem for the company, because you're going to go like, I can't go to McDonald's. There's always shit everywhere. There is diarrhea pouring from the ceiling. I can't go to that establishment anymore. They would pay $50 an hour for someone to come in and clean that. And that's the argument for that. Anyway, that's dumb. He's an idiot. I can't believe that this has reached, this podcast has even reached this many dumb people. Anyway, here's Scott. Scott says they're taking people's jobs because they know companies will pay lower wages. I know it's mental gymnastics for you Democrats. I am now on both sides of the political spectrum, I guess, because he is calling me a Democrat or arguing with the fictitious people in the crowd. But basically, he's making my point for me, is that they're taking, they know that a company is just wanting to pay less. Like, if you're at a company and you're not drawing income, so like a lot of the time, the way that establishments do it is with commission. So if you make commission at a business, then you kind of both have it. Like, the company has incentive for you to sell because they need to get rid of their product and make money, and you have an incentive to sell because you're going to make more money if you do. So that's kind of like an agreement that they do, and then the wage is kind of just, you're there, you've showed up. That's how much you've done to show up. But like, if everything goes to plan and you sell stuff, then you'll be making significantly more than that. So that's kind of an agreement that companies can do. And I totally agree with that. That's perfectly fine. But if you're just going to pay someone the lowest possible wage, that's what that's what businesses want to do. If you're not bringing in income for a company, then you're an expense. And what does anybody do with expenses? Like, not just companies. It doesn't have to be a business. It's just you. It's like, if I gave you the opportunity to get the exact same water, but one is 25 cents less, why would you pay 25 cents more? So the idea is, if you're an expense for a company, you are always going to need to justify more money. No company is just going to want to give you more money. And especially if there's people who are illegally here who are willing to take whatever, because they really have no negotiating chips, because there's what deport. I'm going to get deported. If I don't accept $8 an hour at Walmart, then I go home. Like, I have to go across the Rio Grande on an inflatable tube. That's so I kind of understand the logic on both sides. So maybe that's why both sides hate me. It makes no sense. I'm a loser. I'm a libertarian from Canada. That's a party that doesn't exist. You have to understand the level of stupid that I am. Like, I have to identify as a political party that doesn't exist here because the options here are so mind-numbingly dumb. I am just for a free market and less government intervention. But always, when I'm asked about my political opinion, it's smaller government. It's smaller government and more influenced by people. That's what I think. I think, like, in small areas. So if a small town wants something implemented, they should be able to do it. So small areas should have more influence on their general surroundings. And that's kind of how the America's system works, which makes a little bit more sense logistically. When you have a vast, huge country, having a federal system that influences a guy who's farming a field in Saskatchewan versus a guy who lives in downtown Toronto, that's mind-numbingly stupid. There's no law is going to work the same way in different areas like that. So, yeah, I'm dumb. All of these people are so much dumber. But you know what? Out of all of it, I met a handful of really nice people that seem to be level-headed. And those are the people that aren't saying things like this. Yes, it is real life, you sissy-looking lefty. Get a haircut and a real job, and you might understand real life shit. All right, okay, never mind. Some of them made some points, but, like, most of the comments were stupid. Most of them. That guy, fucking Tim Curdy? All right, I'll consider cutting this fucking dumb hair. I'll cut my hair. I do currently have a real job. I hate it, and this pays me nothing. So, yeah, technically I'm on the page with you, but it's hilarious to be yelled at for being too, like, my friends have called me right-wing Ryan. They've called me the Canadian Ben Shapiro. These are all things that I've said. I am so far right for up here, it's insane. But, like, when exposed to the internet, when you talk to people online, you're whatever their enemy is. Because whatever you say online politically, some version of each party is going to hate you for a different reason. You're not conservative enough. You're too liberal. You're so liberal that you're a sissy fag. But there's so much wrong with the way that we discuss things online that I thought I'd dip my toe in the water and see what it was like. So this guy said, this is over the Donald Trump thing of him saying that they, these people, they are coming into our country. It was in context of him talking. This guy says, again, the ever-present they. That's the best dog whistle for my triggered brothers, a.k.a. white folk. So I decided to dip my toe into the arena of conversation to see what Sir Fort Squire says. I wanted to see what this guy has with a Jack Skellington profile picture. See what he had to say. And what he said was, or what I said was, the they he was referring to as illegal immigrants. So, maybe we could get on the right page, because I don't even know what he means by they. Like, what is he talking about, they? Then he said, right, not welfare queens or transgenders or liberal folk or anyone who's not old white people. This they crap goes back even before 1776. It's a dog whistle 100% for his smooth brain followers. But I like your visits, brother. Good luck with the channel. I don't know if he hates me, if he loves me, if this was this is a very weird coronation to the political sphere of the internet. I don't belong on any side, and the fact that we're forced to push, this is a dumb take, but you're forced to push to either side of the political spectrum is dumb. I am a token conservative because of the way that that I'm perceived on the internet. But I think conservatives are just as dumb as when I was growing up. They were the ones censoring free speech. I think that's where it falls down. I think one of my core tenets of political conversation comes down to free speech, because if you trying to take away any form of speech, I don't care what it was, if it was in the 2000s of trying to censor music, or if it's in now trying to censor the internet of no words, then I'm not on your side. I can't be fully on board with whatever you believe, because you'll never have a political discourse again. If you take away free speech, you take away even part of free speech. Even if you take away the most hateful of free speech, then you've just ruined all discourse for all of time, because you'll never know it's true. It's like what the internet is now. You think of your favorite persona on the internet, and you're not sure what he actually believes. You have no idea what anyone actually believes, because they can't say anything, because it needs to be shrouded in some sort of G-rated mystery. You can't say exactly what you believe, because you'll be labeled as a liberal, you'll be labeled as a conservative, you'll be labeled you're too liberal. If you're dug into one side and you say a thing that doesn't toe the party line, then oh my god, you're going to be ostracized from the side. And then what are you going to do? You're going to become a conservative? No, you hate them. There's no room for discourse if you're afraid of your own party turning on you. So that's an issue on both sides. On both sides of the political spectrum. There's not much worse than this, the conversation devolving into us eating ourselves, where you're just nothing's getting done. It's just all it's all a distraction. It's all nothing, including everything that's going on right now. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but this video has gone around of the American College of Pediatrics. I was unfamiliar with their work. I hadn't heard anything about them, but Dr. Jill Simmons, with a very official lab coat, came on and had a lot of interesting takes to take in 2024 for a doctor. So I saw this video and I started doing a little bit of research. So I thought we could watch along, and then I'll explain what I've found.
And we have serious concerns about the physical and mental health effects of the current protocols promoted for the care of children and adolescents in the United States who express discomfort with their biological sex. This declaration was authored by the American College of Pediatricians, but really it was developed from the expertise of hundreds of doctors, researchers, and other healthcare workers and leaders who, for years, have been sounding the alarm on the harmful protocols that continue to be promoted by the medical organizations in the United States. Despite recent revelations from the leaked WPATH files and the recent release of the final report from the CAS review, these medical organizations have not changed course. So we are calling on these medical organizations of the United States, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry to follow the science and their European colleagues and immediately stop the promotion of social affirmation, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries for children and adolescents who experience distress over their biological sex.
So, let me explain what she said in dum-dum term. They think that transgender surgeries, hormones, even affirmation of the gender that you're assigned at birth, whatever your chromosomes align to, however you want to phrase it, they think that we should absolutely stop that until you're 18. Once you're 18, do whatever you want. Again, my core values: stop bothering other people and leave me alone. That's pretty much what it is. So you could argue that stop bothering other people could apply to transgender kids, but my argument does have some lines in it. People means that when you're 18, when you're below 18, wherever we decide the line of maturity is in our society, wherever that is, if it's lower in a different culture, then it moves there. But wherever your line of maturity, where you get to vote, where you get to do whatever it is, I think it should last to the last one. So if you have a later drinking age, you have a later whatever, whenever you can do it all, whenever you can be in the military, whenever you can vote, whenever you can drink, whatever, all of that, then you can do whatever you want with your body. You can cut your penis off, you can drill holes in it, you can hang from hooks from the ceiling and call yourself a unicorn. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. And I think the person who's standing there calling you a slur on the sidelines also has the right to be that, because he identifies as a hateful fuck. So that's what he gets to do. And to each side of the argument, you need the exact opposite. So if you're going to have an extreme acceptance of whatever the fuck that is, then that's what we're going to get. But when I dug down into this pediatric college, I didn't know what it was. I was a little bit confused by it, so I dug a little deeper. And what happened was I found out that this is a sneaky little tactic that they did. That is, it's just an advocacy group. It has nothing to do, but this is shared around by millions. The Toronto Sun, which is a newspaper in Canada, is reporting on this. And but basically, this is just a advocacy group, a super conservative advocacy group of They are actual doctors, but they're, at the end of the day, they are just a advocacy group. That's pretty much what it is. So I was like shocked to hear that that some doctors were coming out going like, hey, we absolutely need that. And I get that there are those ones, but most of them fall into this category. And it was being shared around as if this was like an official statement by like a federal agency. But they have a sneaky way of labeling themselves as like a federal agency when they're not. They're just an advocacy group of conservatives. They're conservative doctors who obviously believe that you shouldn't trans kids. But at the end of the day, that should be like that's what we're arguing for, is that I think that you shouldn't be allowed to make dramatic decisions for kids, even like that. I disagree that you should be allowed to sign off on a tattoo for kids. So it's kind of crazy that's the case. So like you would have to be morally consistent there in that argument when you go, should a parent be allowed to sign off their kid to get a tattoo or a piercing or something like that? And you would go, yes, because I would believe even the most conservative parent gets their young daughter's ears pierced at Claire's. But I don't think you should. I think you should have enough agency to make your own decisions. And I don't think you do, even probably at 14. You probably shouldn't be piercing holes in your body before you've kind of like fully developed. It should stand to reason that should be the whole thing. But I'm probably the outlier on all sides of the spectrum. I'm on the spectrum. But yeah, I looked up their website, and it's basically just it's like a political propaganda. That's pretty much what it is. It's just conservative political propaganda. It's the same thing that we've always seen from both sides, and we're pretending like it's not. So yeah, don't believe everything. When you see somebody in a white lab coat, you don't have to believe them. They're not always the science, no matter how much they yell it. If you can yell it from the rooftops, and they might not always be the science. So, yeah, there's big announcements though. Big announcements in the political race. So Biden's out, Kamala's in for now, because everybody thinks this is permanent. That this is in. She probably is, most likely is, but there's still time. She's still being called presumptive nominee. She could be one slip up. She's like, basically Kamala is in the 3-month probation period when you've been hired for a job. They could fire you just because they didn't really like you. They could fire you because you're not doing the job right. You can slip up once. You call in sick one day and that's enough. They're like, yeah, okay, I'm done. So she has one gaffe. They could just find somebody else. And I think this is already a slippery slope that they're on. I'm realizing what they're doing. I've kind of seen the political game that's being played. So Kamala has to get a vice president. She needs to pick it soon because the campaign is very short. She has a very short amount of time to even formulate a campaign. And if there's even going to be these bullshit vice president debates or even just conversations had by the vice president on what they're going to do, it needs to happen now. So she's picked somebody, and she's picked Tim Walz, and he's the governor of Minnesota, and he is strange. He's an odd man, but basically what they've done is they've just reversed the roles. They've got an old white dude that looks like Biden a little bit to be the vice president for the vice president. And it's very confusing, but here's the plan. They've got this guy. He's a little eccentric, most recently known for passing a law in Minnesota that allows driver's license for anybody, even if you're not a citizen. So I could go to Minnesota. I could drive down to Minnesota right now and get myself a driver's license, American driver's license, which is an identification, which is how you would vote. So that's concerning. That's a little bit concerning. I haven't looked fully into what the law in states, but driver's licenses for everyone is a weird tactic to go. And then we've got him. But here's the plan. Let me explain. Kamala knows that there are certain states that are just a wash. They're never going to be won. They're losing states. It's a losing battle. Why even fight? There's not really a point for that. So what you do is you win every state that you're going to win by an even larger margin. We need those. We need New York to come out in such a way. We need California to come out in such a way that demolishes it dwarfs any loss that they're going to have. And this guy's job that has been added to the ticket is to make sure that any other outside shenanigans, any losses that we were going to get in swing states are there. This is your your like anchor point. This is your like, oh, okay, well, at least we're not swaying the boat too much. This is your status quo. So anybody who is like, oh, I don't know, man, we're gonna try to get like a woman. This is gonna be the first woman. She's gonna be a woman of color in there. When Trump was in there before, and he did a pretty good job. So it's like, I don't know, who should I vote for? And then you add this guy to the ticket, and he's supposed to be a sense of home. That's what I'm seeing from this. And this guy is not really filling the role, but he is helping the base. And this has come down to a base versus base fight. The middle of the road has no option anymore. No one is fighting for center anymore. We've gone so far away from that. We used to say that. That used to be like a thing that people would say, be like, oh, no, we just rally for the base, and then that'll win us enough votes. But in reality, you needed to sway the center. That was the only way that you were ever going to win an election, is if you got the people that were on the fence to fall on your side. And now we don't have that. We have two parties that are going, I want abortions for 18 months. I want no guns for anyone. I want police to have no guns. I want BLM to be Secretary of State. It's like they're going so far. I want mandatory abortions given out to everyone. And they do that. Well, the right is going to go, no, absolutely, we're going to take away all laws. We're going to drill until the earth is dry. We're going to make sure that swastikas on every synagogue. We're gonna my point is that they're going down to the lowest of the low and scraping that and then working their way up. And they're getting every single tactic that your party would want is that they're doing. They're going, yep, 100%. Whatever the party line is on whatever topic, that times 100 is the strategy.
I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you and Doug, this incredible journey. And Pennsylvania, I know you know this. But my God, what a treasure you have in Josh Shapiro. Holy hell, can this guy bring the fire? He can bring the fire. This is a visionary leader. Also, I have to tell you, everybody in America knows when you need a bridge fixed, call that guy.
He had multiple bridge collapse in the state of Pennsylvania. That's the other side of the argument that he's kind of missing, is that, when the bridge needed to be fixed, yeah, you did have to call a guy, but like they fell down. There was a reason why they needed to be fixed, and we're really not addressing that. That is a hilarious statement.
And I think sometimes we forget, and you see people a little one-dimensional, but seeing a guy who cares so deeply about his family, a man with compassion, vision, and I'll have to tell you this, I know this from experience, there is no one you would rather go to a Springsteen concert in Jersey with than him, than that guy. Bruce. And I can't wait for all of you and America to get to know my incredible wife, Gwen, a 29-year public school educator.
Schools, yay.
Don't ever underestimate teachers. And our two beautiful kids, Hope and Gus. I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help Vice President Harris become what we all know is very, very good for us to think about. Next President of the United States of America. From her first day as a prosecutor, as a district attorney, Attorney General of the great state of California, a United States Senator, and Vice President of the United States.
Yes, that's me.
Vice President Harris has fought on the side of the American people. She took on the predators, she took on the fraudsters, she took down the transnational gangs, she stood up against powerful corporate interests, and she never
dude,
had...
all of the people in the audience is, what the fuck did he just say about trans? Did he just disparage trans? Did Kamala beat up some trans? Oh no, they kind of clap for anything, but there's a few trigger words that they hear, and now they're on edge. Dude, you should take that out. Somebody should have noticed that in the speech.
Hesitated to reach across the aisle if it meant improving people's lives. And I want all of you to hold this, and don't ever underestimate the power of this. She does it all with a sense of joy.
When I was prosecuting criminals in LA, I loved putting them behind bars. It was one of my favorite things to do. But now I believe we should probably just get rid of all prisons and make them like rehabilitation stations. We should really talk it out with the prisoners, and then everyone will lose their fucking mind.
I know a little something about that commitment to people. I was born in West Point, Nebraska. I lived in Butte, a small town of 400, where community was a way of life. Growing up, I spent the summers working on the family farm. My mom and dad taught us, show generosity towards your neighbors and work for a common good.
There you go. That's your VP coming at you, coming soon. That's the VP to your VP, and he's coming in milquetoast. Not. It's just like a wet blanket. That's kind of what he is. He's just a guy. It's like you could replace that guy tomorrow and no one would know. That is a dime a dozen politician guy. And that's what they needed. That's what they wanted, because I guarantee this is the argument that went through everybody's head. They go, excuse me. They go, all right, this is a real cage rattle. That's what's going on here. We're having the first female, and she's also of color, and for some reason that seems to be up for debate whether she's Indian or black, but regardless, we're really rattling some cages here, and it's one of the only times in history that a person has the president has essentially stepped down while in office this close to an election. Usually there's a time period of people to get introduced to the new candidate that's coming in, or there was something severely dramatic that happened, like somebody was assassinated. It's very strange to have this happen and then also have a dramatically new type of candidate, because it's not like we're just having another Biden step in. If Tim Walz was the candidate, it would make a little more sense for the American people. Like, it would be a little more status quo, but that wouldn't get the troops rallied. What we've done here is we've created some sort of hybrid candidate of the most progressive thing we could possibly do, and also status quo, fucking your dad's staunch Republican Democrat guy. That's what's happened here. And it's kind of working, because from all the polls that I've seen, things are evening out, but polls are meaningless. It means literally nothing. Politics, when Trump won, all the polls said Hillary was going to win. When Trump lost, all the polls were saying Trump was winning. So it's pretty much impossible to tell what's going to happen. Things change on a dime. So we have enough time to get introduced to these people. And I'm not going to lie, he had a pretty slick line when you want to talk about dog whistles, whoever the fuck the dog whistle comment guy was. When he was talking about having Tim Walz, when he was talking about having a vice presidential debate against J.D. Vance, what he said was, well, I'd love to have a debate with him if he can get off the couch. Now, that is one of the funniest things that I've never heard a politician say, especially one old, dusty, old white guy say. It's hilarious. He said, get off the couch, because there's a meme going around that J.D. Vance fucks his couch. Hell yes. I love it. So that would be, if we could do a Wildin' Out style, Yo Mama style debate, where it's just like, J.D. Vance fucks so many couches that IKEA barred him from entry. Like, we should just do that, and whoever does the best wins. I'm in. I'm fully on board. But a little bit later, Kamala had another campaign rally in Detroit. And this is what I'm talking about, where the Democratic Party is just a self-eating snake, where the protesters for Gaza, the Palestinian protesters, showed up to a Kamala rally, and now they start chanting in the middle of her speech. She is not having it. So it seems like MSNBC and places like that are posting this as like a win, but to me it seems a little strange. That is not the face of somebody that believes it's all good. She is so upset right now. She's seething on the inside because she doesn't know how to respond, because these are people on her side. It's like when you're protesting your candidate, like at the end of the day, even if you don't agree at her fucking, like your core issue is Palestine, this is still your candidate. That's it. Trump's Israel. Trump's team Israel. So if Kamala's not doing enough or too much or whatever that you believe for Palestine, then like that's the best you're gonna get. She's like, Trump is going to go in there and give Israel as much money as humanly possible. He is the most pro-Israel president that I've ever seen. So he is going to go in there and fund Israel to, he'll just be like, do you need a couple nukes? Do you want to drop nukes? What do you want to do? Like so it's, if you're protesting Kamala Harris for Palestine, you are brain dead. There's something wrong with you. And the people in the audience are hilarious because they don't have anything else to do. So they just hear a chant and they just go, well, we have to counter with our own chant. So they just start chanting Kamala. Well, the people there are chanting something about Gaza. And now we have this weird autistic chant off. And she's like, no, settle down. Like she's quelling the special needs class. It's unbelievably hilarious. But then she continues.
I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now.
Was that supposed to be a sassy, was it like a sassy retort? Like, yeah, I said we all want democracy. That's what we're here for. You know, everybody believes in democracy, but I'm speaking now. You know, I believe in freedom of speech and we all have the right to speech, but this is my time, motherfucker, and you listen. She didn't even say that. She just said, but I am speaking now. Almost patronizing. It's hilarious the way that they have to speak with the kid gloves that the people that you're talking to have to be treated with. Because when you're dug in blue, when you bleed blue because you're just so democratic that, you know, if Trump gets in, it's a threat to democracy, then you have such a nerfed helmet on that you, like, because everyone has to, you might not even know it. You might not realize that people have to treat you special. they have to treat you, they have to walk on eggshells, democratic eggshells that they have to walk on, because most people just want to get through the day. They just don't want to have a fight with you. They don't agree with you. They don't want to have the argument with you because you're so dug in, it's not going to matter. Like, on most things, I could be swayed on. And I'm stuck in on one side. If I ever have a debate with anyone, or if I do pick a side. And I'm going to argue every possible thought I can in my head to argue for that side. Most of the time, just to hear what your retort would be. So then if I'm going on the opposite side, I will have that too. But it's mostly just I want to know every opposing viewpoint of everything, every viewpoint that I can think of. It's a weird autistic brain thing that I really like. So most of the time, I'm just trying to find every devil's advocate for anything that I can think of. So if I think this is the right way to do that, tell me the reasons why it won't, because I would love to go back and forth and find. That's the only way you're ever going to find truth, is if I believe one thing and then you dispel it with some sort of information that you have, and then that changes my opinion. Maybe not in the moment, but I have to reevaluate, because I have to go, well, there is a hole. There was a hole punched in that argument, and now I need to fill it. So I need to find, I need to go and reevaluate what I thought from the beginning, because that hole, that's everything. If you can punch a hole in the argument, that's enough reasonable doubt that it might not be true, and that's enough. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way that we find truth, is if it's without a reasonable doubt, absolutely 100% fact, then we're good. But if you can poke a hole in it, then we know that we haven't found true truth yet. So we need to keep doing that. You need to have the argument to the argument to the argument. Otherwise, we're never going to get to the end. Yeah, let Kamala continue.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck are you talking about? This is a pro-Palestine protest at your Kamala rally. And then you went on a diatribe about, if you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm talking. What? That sentence doesn't even make sense. So if I come into a Kamala rally and I want to talk about how good Donald Trump is, I can just interrupt you and you'll wait? That's a hot tip for anybody who wants to show up there, because she says, the only thing that I will listen to is if you're saying that you're voting for Donald Trump, because honestly, I am too. Because I don't want the job. I'm terrified, and I think he's done a great job. I don't know what the fuck she's saying. What the fuck just happened? This is I gotta hear it one more time. This is a pro-Kamala rally with protesters at it who are protesting for Palestine. She tries to quell the argument with this.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
I want Donald Trump to win. Okay? And now she just continued. Like, I don't understand. What's the point? What is the point of that? That has nothing to do with the argument. Was that tried to... Do people just... Oh, I just realized it. I just put the pieces together. This is when this type of person, the locked-in Democratic person, hears, you a Donald Trump guy? Then you get out of here. They'll lose their shit. If you go, that guy likes Donald Trump and fuck him, everyone goes, yeah, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. That's what she just did there. She just assumed, she just immediately went there, and we all know how the left hates assuming, but you just assumed his political identity and then yelled at them that they're a Donald Trump supporter because they're pro-Palestine? Because they're the logic that you would have to jump through to make that plausible is crazy. You're never going to get there because Donald Trump loves Israel. Probably more than Joe Biden did. And everybody says Joe Biden loved Israel and he didn't do enough for Palestine. So if you're thinking that the Palestinian protesters are pro-Donald Trump, you're lost, lady. She sounds like she's drunk and it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She is Sunday afternoon soccer mom drunk at a political rally, and she's not making any sense. She's just like, if you want to talk about Donald Trump, then I'll listen, but if not, then I'm talking. That's what I heard. Angry face. The angry face where she just stares you down, and she's like, let me look. I'm gonna look. She has aggressive, angry mother who's drank too much energy. She's a little bit, she's done a couple of Vicodins or something like that, but it's so much mom energy that I think that some people will like that, but I feel like that's going to be a disparaging factor because the cackle and non-likability factor is so high for her that it's tough. Because what I've noticed is that there's something about a president that when he meets you, like in person, if you see him, if you go to a rally and you shake their hand, that they're charismatic, that they change your opinion on them, even if you're on the other side of it. Like you're kind of taken in by them. They have almost like a celebrity factor to them. And as much as everybody hates Donald Trump, he 100% had that because he already had it going into a political career. And as much as people hate Joe Biden, he also had that. It was a weird, likability quality that he had just meeting you. Like if I ran into Joe Biden, probably not now because he's kind of demented, but I'm saying 5 years ago, and just met him, he would probably be a great guy, and I'd walk away from that interaction going, dude, he's a really good guy. Like, he seems like he's a really nice guy, and I really like. But I feel like if you meet Kamala and you just met, you'd be like, either you didn't like her, or you didn't have too much of an interaction with her. Those are the two things that happens if you have just a human interaction with Kamala. So it's tough. That's a tough hurdle to get over, is that she is just not likable from the start. Donald Trump was likable from the start, and they've been tainting it ever since. But she is not likable, and they're trying to turn her likable. They're really trying to polish a turd here, and that's going to be a problem. And more to the fact that I'm saying that everyone's catering to their base. So while Kamala is out doing whatever that was, Trump decided to do a live stream with Adin Ross on Kick. Now, at first I was like, this is the dumbest thing that could be done. This could be, but then I saw the logic train. I saw how he got here. First of all, I think his kid, probably pretty conservative, Donald Trump's kid, and probably watches some of this content, because it seems like, from what I've watched of the stream, that seems to be a general topic, is that Barron Trump is a fan of Adin Ross. And Adin Ross is basically a guy who was so controversial and had very questionable streams on Twitch and would get banned and went over to Kick. And Kick is a platform that's kind of free speech, do whatever you want, the Wild West of the internet. And I'm very pro Kick. It's it's a solid platform because, yes, you're going to get the worst of the worst, but you'll also get the best of the best. That's what you don't understand. You'll get stuff that you'll never be able to get anywhere else because it's kind of free. So that's what, like, even YouTube used to be. Back in the day, there was the worst of the worst stuff on there. There were probably some murders and death on YouTube. It was a step below Live Leak because some of the stuff slipped through the cracks when you were kind of just letting anything goes. But, like, you have light rules. It's like early MMA. Things are going to get squirrely. But So Donald Trump goes on Adin Ross's stream, and I see the chain because Donald Trump likes Dana White, the president of the UFC, and Dana White loves to gamble. Kick is owned by Stake, the gambling company. It's a online gambling crypto casino, whatever, and that is owned. Operates most of its business through Kick, through streamers showing gambling and stuff like that. So you can kind of see that Dana White, big fan of Trump. Trump's come to UFC things. Dana White also gambles a lot. Adin also gambles. They probably met up a few times. You can see how this kind of came to fruition. But it's another way to cater to their base because the young people, the young conservatives that are just going to be voting, like this is their first election to vote in, or they're in their early 20s, this kind of shit does cater to them. You don't realize that this makes you a little bit more likable. If you think, here's a funny plot twist, is that if you go like this and you saw Donald Trump streaming on a platform with some whatever, oh man, this guy's edgy, or he's a conservative streamer or whatever, and you're like, that's so dumb, wow, he looks so stupid doing this, then you would go, do you remember when like AOC was playing Among Us with some streamers and stuff? Like there's if you were also very anti that, you'd be like, oh man, she should get back in the office, not be playing fucking Among Us, then yes, you're morally consistent. But honestly, this is a smart strategy by both of them to get in touch with the kids and you know what, tell them what you believe and make you more likable. So he went on there. And hilariously enough, this is what they decided to do, which I kind of thought was a good idea. They sat down with Trump. This is better journalism. This is a better way of catching Trump saying something stupid than any journalist has ever done. Because what they're going to do is flash a person on the screen. Just Donald Trump sitting down with Adin Ross in Mar-a-Lago. It seems like they went to Donald Trump's compound, and they're sitting in the foyer, and they're reading, or they're showing President Trump pictures of people and getting an opinion on them. Just a simple, straightforward opinion on who they are. So he obviously put Donald Trump up first. He said a patriot, but then we continue.
Patriot. I'm a patriot.
Okay. Joe Rogan.
Interesting. He really is. He's an amazing guy. He's a very interesting guy.
So we got next, Mr. White.
Oh, well, he's a fighter. I'll tell you, that guy, he fights. You wouldn't want to have him against you. A little bit true with all of these people that you're showing. There's a good one. Elon, a genius, truly a genius. You know, I see the rockets come down with the engines, and they're coming down, and the engines are landing without any, they have no wings, no nothing. That was a couple of years ago. I said, what is that? And I said, what was that all about? He says, well, we want to be able to save the engines, not that they go into the ocean and all, but he really is. He's a genius. He's also a very good person, Elon.
Let's see what we got next here. We got Kanye.
So he's very complicated. Let's say complicated. Because he's a really nice guy, but he can get himself into trouble, and he can get some other people. But you know, he's got a good heart. He does. But he's complicated. Kanye. Fake, but in all fairness, look. But she knows it. She's got a thing going. It's a good thing. She's a good thing for her. But there's a certain something she's got. She's got a spark. That's pretty amazing, actually. She's got a good spark.
Dude, that was the closest that we'll ever get Donald Trump saying she's kind of hot. She's got a spark. She's spicy.
So I'll change it. I'll say spark. She does have, she gets on. You know, when she was running against a gentleman from Queens, and I asked his people, I said, are you careful? This guy was going to be Speaker of the House. It was going to be him, not Nancy Pelosi. And Joe, he is a good politician, a real pro, been around for a long time, many years in Congress. And I watched her on television one time. I saw a clip of her speaking, ranting, raving, going crazy. And I said, who's she running against? She's running against Joe. I said, oh, does he know what's going on? Oh, he's got no problem, sir. He's got no problem. I said, is he doing any debates? No, he doesn't have to bother with the debates. He's been there for years. I said, tell him I said that he should be careful. Because I saw her. And I said, she's Evita. I called her Evita. Maybe that's the best. Evita Peron, right? I said, she's Evita. She's in the streets screaming, shouting, going crazy, hugging people, Everybody's being hugged. I said, he better be careful. And she took him out. So, I give her credit. But she's got a lot of sizzle. Oh, well.
Dude, he said she has a lot of sizzle. That I was joking when I said he was gonna say she's hot. He said she's hot. He looked at her and went like, dude, she's out there. This is a beautiful lady out there on the street hugging people. You're an old, crusty politician. Nobody likes you. This is a young lady out there yelling, screaming in the streets, being very charismatic, and even if you don't believe in what she says, you can lose that. And Trump was probably right. Debates are usually, if you can win on policy and you also think that they're going to stumble and seem like an idiot, debates are always your answer.
She's got a lot of sizzle.
A lot of sizzle.
Well, there's a powerful man. He's a powerful man. I know him very well. I know him probably better than anybody in this country knows him, and got to know him extremely well. We had a great relationship until COVID. COVID was a step too far, but we did very well with China and President Xi. We did very, very well with China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars. No president took in 10 cents. I took in. And I exposed China. Look, I want China to do great. Okay, but they can't take advantage of us like they were doing. For years and years, we'd lose $500 billion a year in trade, all of that. But then COVID came in, and it really, I changed, but I will have a very good relationship with him. There's no going to war with him. He doesn't want to go to war. We're not going to go to war. And we had a very good relationship, actually. He was right in this room. He came to this country, and he stayed here for a number of days, as you remember. And we had incredible meetings, a very famous meeting in the dining room, actually. But he loves his country, and he's very strong and very powerful and very interesting. But he really does love his country, I can tell you that.
What does this feel like for like a 20-year-old kid who made his way doing edgy shit on the internet, is now interviewing the ex-president, most likely front runner for the presidency, and now like on a what's considered like the dark side of streaming's platform. Like this, I don't know what I would be thinking. I would be trying to take it seriously, but he wants to like do something. He wants to get a clip out of this, so he wants to do something stupid. Like he's got TikTok brain because he's still like a kid at the end of the day. This has to be the most crazy thing that's ever happened in his life. I get that he's met the president before, but this is a different level. This is bizarro world that we're living. We are actually living in Politiocracy.
Let's see who we got next on this list.
Yeah, Gavin Newscomb. You spelled it. No, you spelled his last name.
He literally ruined California. Beautiful state. California is beautiful. He ruined it.
And when you watch him, he's always saying, "Oh, we're doing so great."
Right,
we're not doing great. I mean, I have holdings in California, and I own a golf course right on the ocean, right on the Pacific Ocean in Palos Verdes. So beautiful. It's a club. It's big, many acres, hundreds of acres, and it's fantastic. But California is so precious. One of the most beautiful places in the world. in terms of weather,
For sure.
in terms of everything. And they're just destroying it with crime. The crime is out of control. It's a very dangerous place. And he, I think it's a shame because I like him. I got along with him great. I helped him a lot with his fires. I kept saying, why don't you do something about the forest fires?
Yeah.
There's no reason to have that. There's no management. They have no management control over the forests. I said, you have to do things. But I got along with him great, but he has not done the job.
No.
He has not done it.
If you were trying to make a Batman villain or something, this is the perfect archetype, and I believe that's why he has to push the political ideology of not judging a book by its cover, and he's got to be super left wing, because if we judged a book by its cover, we would go, yeah, this is an evil man. He's definitely doing something evil. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely evil, and we shouldn't be supporting it because he just looks like he closes the door and he never smiles unless he's on camera. He's always upset and he's yelling at people, and I would love to hear the behind the scenes of Gavin Newsom.
The job. Sad.
Got a few more. Let's see what we got next.
I gotta say, millions of dollars probably went into this. This stream that we're watching right now, hilarious. We're getting to Justin Trudeau. I'm super excited for that. But instead of the production value, I'm just saying, I'm known as the greatest producer in podcasting. I could produce a stream like nobody. I'm literally the greatest. But he couldn't figure out how to make a slideshow, because that seems to be a skill that's lost. That's antiquated technology. So instead, he made a YouTube video of a slideshow, and has to play the video and awkwardly sit there until the next thing plays, because he'll pause it right when the name pops up, and then he gives himself 3 or 4 seconds of just all right, and who's gonna come up next, and it's boom. Yeah, somebody even titled it "One word to describe these people for President Trump and Adin." It could have just been 9 pictures in a file, and he opened them and clicked next, but he couldn't be trusted to do that. But that shows the level that we're dealing with here. The level of that to me, this is actually good. The more that I think about this, I'm realizing that Trump is willing to go on the highest production value show that whatever it may be, Fox, CNN, he'll go on any of those shows and talk. He'll go into a Black Journalist Association and have a whole discussion, basically an inquisition there. He'll go on to Adin Ross's stream and talk about whatever. He's willing to talk to whoever about whatever in whatever side of this is the most dug in Republican kid that you're ever going to find. And they went to the most dug in Democrat people, and he had the same sort of discussion, and he's willing to do it. I don't see any Democratic person doing this type of shit. Why? Not Adin Ross's stream, but somebody who's, why doesn't Kamala Harris go on Ben Shapiro? Why not? What you would change people's minds. That you would sway a few people. There are sane people that listen to the Daily Wire and fucking Steven Crowder or whatever. There are some sane people there. There's people who listen to that to kind of get both sides of the political. I'm guilty of it myself. I listen to all of the Daily Wire people, and then I'll listen to all of the Young Turks people and get both of them, and then my brain is just melting from both of their dumb points. So I understand why Trump does this. I don't understand why others do it, other than shining a light on them would be a negative thing. Shining a light on Trump is a positive thing. That's the only thing that makes sense for all of this. Now let's please give me something good for Trudeau.
Got a few more. Let's see what we got next.
Yeah. He's turned very liberal, actually. They say he's the son of Fidel Castro. and could be. I mean, anything's possible in this world, you know? You're going to learn as you get older. You've seen a lot already for your age. Per age, I would say. Per year spent, you've seen as much as anybody.
Trump knows the Fidel Castro meme? There's no way. I wonder if he knows the lore that, like, you know, that Pierre Trudeau's wife, they were swingers, and then they went to some islands just around Cuba, right around the time that Trudeau would have been conceived, and he looks identical to Castro throughout the years, all of that stuff. I wonder if he's aware of that. But that's a hilarious thing. When he sees Trudeau, the Rorschach test for Trudeau, he goes, "Oh, Trudeau? Castro." That ruled.
But Justin Trudeau is, I get along with him very well, actually, but he seems to be going very progressive, and the people of Canada are not liking it. I mean, if they had a good conservative person, which maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know, but somebody that's a strong conservative would win in Canada. Canada is very unhappy about the way they've been treated as people.
But he's not wrong. He is dead on. And let me explain something. Let me break it down a little bit. So in Canada, we do have a conservative, but he is not strong. The problem being is that most conservatives are kind of dweebs. It's hard to say. It's hard to get past. But almost every single conservative politician through my lifetime and through what I consider to be the modern era of prime ministers, probably the last 50 years, they are mostly dweebs. They're bookworms. They're guys that slick their hair back and have that perfect, like, boyish part. They most of the time wear reading glasses, but somebody always tells them to not wear them. Somebody in their cabinet goes like, "You look like a dork. Get LASIK. Get contacts. Do something." And they always do it. But it's so much to the point that they wear glasses. They're those types of people that wear glasses, and like, you can tell when they're not wearing their glasses. You know, the people that get contacts, and you're like, "Man, you look like you need glasses." That's the last 3 conservative politicians in Canada. All looked like that. They all are very dweeby, but that is a lot of the time what Canada needs. They're like no-nonsense, autistic Rain Men type who are like, "Let's balance the budget. How much money's coming in? How much money's going out? Let's deal with that." And it's not appealing. We don't have that, like, charismatic guy who can just go full bore, because Canada, at the end of the day, is an overall liberal country. Our conservatives are nowhere near as conservative as a American conservative. We are conservative light. Our conservatives are almost like a centrist in most states of America. But the problem being is that most people would vote for a conservative here, but it's not that appealing. It's not that. Basically, what you're voting for, you're never voting for, the way that it's worked for my entire life that I've been following politics in Canada, is that we vote for conservatives as a reaction. Always. It's never like, and I guess you could say that about most things, but most of the time it's like, we're like, yeah, no, liberal, we'll just stick with liberal, and then it gets really bad, and then we go, all right, we need to, like, rein it in. We need to get, mom and dad need to come check this out. And then we get the conservative in for a couple of years, and he balances things out, things start going in the right direction, and sets us on a good course. Then we go back to a liberal, then we go, we need to get some progressive policies in here, we need to do this, and then we start doing that, and then it starts turning around all the progress that we did, it crashes into the ground again, and we do it all over again. But that takes time. It usually takes a long time. So the conservatives set us up for the next, like, 5 to 10 years with their moderate budget and good economic strategies, and then things start sailing smooth, and then we go, all right, you know what, we can't, it's getting really easy around here. So then you start, when things get easy, you start thinking of problems. You start, because it can't be good. It can't just be great. That's crazy. So problems need to be there. So what's the problem? Oh, okay, well, socioeconomic problems, there's housing problems, there's food problems, and then we start creating government agencies for all of these things, spending more money, taxes start going up, and then it goes on a steady incline over the course of 9 years that we've been dealing with it right now, until it reaches a point when we all go, wait, why is bread $8? What the hell's going on here? Wait, what's going on? And then we go start looking at it all, and we go, oh yeah, right, we wanted fucking free schooling for homeless people, and you're like, why did we fund this? None of them are doing it, and it costs $3 million a year. That's the kind of stuff that happens. We have really, really inflated programs that are like not well run or not really doing what they intended from the get-go, and they cost millions, and then it just trickles down. It takes some time, because everything's so big and it's a really large numbers that we're dealing with, so it's really hard to even see when everything starts happening. But it slowly starts happening, and then everything starts accumulating, and then we had a thing like COVID, and that's not it's not going to be possible. That's an impossible recovery to do under this current administration. So what we have is this guy. This is Pierre Polyev. I don't even know his name. That's bad. But he basically is the conservative leader. The way things work in Canada is that we don't really vote for a leader. We vote for a party. So the leader is kind of irrelevant. It can change. It could change during the prime ministership. If they step down and they have another leader, it's not like we have a vice president. We have a party. So the party will elect a new person from within the cabinet. So currently, this is our guy. So we have him, and he is kind of no nonsense, and he's the most charismatic conservative leader that we've ever had. Most of them are boring, bland, kind of like Kamala's VP. We have just standard, boring white guy just going, well, we need to balance the budget, and that is what he is. But he's got a little more sass, and that's helping a little.
Good morning, Jonathan from CTV News. Just along the lines of what you've been talking about already this morning, Mr. Polyev, in regards to drawing kind of a tough line of what your party is proposing. Scott Cortese is with the London Area Community Health Center, just located over here. During the police announcement, which I know your party is very familiar with, said that he wants a little time to come up with better protocols, better options, better avenues. Is there any compromise here? You've drawn quite a line this morning, but is there any compromise opportunity where you could work with some of these folks, come up with a modified plan, or is there strictly one option here in your mind?
Are you talking, sorry, on what subject? Are we talking now drugs or crime?
I'm talking safe supplies.
Well, again, how can you possibly report on the story when you're already using government propaganda? It's not safe. Yes, that's the problem. You're using the term they're using. How can you, so you've decided, you've already made up your mind, you're going to report their statements as though they're true. Well, why are you using their language?
Yeah, that's the language being used in various news conferences and other policies.
Oh, yes,
Sure.
they are, of course. So you're just being force-fed talking points by the authorities who caused the problem in the first place.
So what he's talking about is safe use sites and facilities that are around Canada. And those are facilities that you can go get everything that you need to use drugs, sometimes even versions of the drugs that they've tested. I think they have testing kits to test your drugs, places that you can go to detox, and they're giving you better ways to do the drugs that have been decriminalized in some areas, and now have been, some of the governments around Canada have been begging for the things to be recalled, that we're like, hey, we can't make that that anyone can just do fentanyl in the street, it's becoming a problem. It's like there's a reason why we stigmatize it, and it's like you should really keep it into the corners of society. It's a different, it's a problem that we're just kind of creating a daycare for. That's not good. It's not a good idea to be like, all right, well, just don't go to this area. We're just sectioning it off because that's for the fentanyl users. So that's not okay. So what he's talking about is a CBC reporter, which is basically in Canada CNN, or MSNBC, but they're asking about funding for the safe use facilities and the drug sharing programs that they have around the country.
This is exactly the problem. This is exactly the problem. It's exactly the problem.
London police using the same terminology.
How's it working?
So I'm just asking you to answer the question of whether or not there's any room to work with these other agencies or not, or whether you're going to stick to your proposals, which are your proposals. That's all I'm asking, sir.
My proposal is recovery and treatment. Am I going to give more money to these agencies that have caused the crisis? No. They're not going to get any more money. They've caused the mayhem. Have you been around? Have you seen the tent cities?
I lived in this very neighborhood for 8 years.
Have you seen the tent cities?
Yes, I've seen it.
Okay, and you think that these agencies are doing a good job?
I think there's, sir, it's not my job to debate a federal leader on this issue, sir, but I will say that.
I'm asking you a question. Are you think they're doing a good job when you go to see the tent cities that are popping up everywhere in the country?
community is doing the best job.
I agree with you on that, the community, but the agencies are different than the community. And again, you're repeating their talking points. I mean, there was a time when reporters believed their job was to hold government accountable, not regurgitate their talking points.
Now you can see he nailed it. He fucking crushed it out of the park. He blew the doors off this person that he might even reevaluate his own political beliefs, because he went in there a staunch liberal and now he doesn't know what to say. He's walking away from that going like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't have an answer for any of that. No, it's not doing well. This is a terrible idea. Everything has gotten worse when we just allow people to continue with a problem, because drug abuse is a problem, and to try and quell that problem with just not stigmatizing it as a problem, that's not a solution. So he nailed this, but that was so fucking boring. Him talking is like listening to paint dry. You don't even get to watch it. Blindfolded paint listening is what we're witnessing, and that's not going to get people to the polls. He should have called that. Honestly, if he just went and just said, you're gay, that was stupid. That was a dumb question. Look at all the homeless people. Do you really think all these homeless people on fentanyl is a good idea? You're dumb. Next question. That would have been way better than even just having a discourse, because at this point, it's the American strategy. That's what's working. It's just you're going to your base, you're selling. You don't even have to answer this person's question, because that was dumb. It was extremely dumb, and you should treat it as such. He is some sort of on the spectrum. Game recognizes game. I definitely could. I know this. I can tell. But it's just not great. And Trump is right. Trump is 100% right that we got nothing. We got nothing up here. You can't even vote. Can't even vote anything else, because even in the secondary party version that we have here, we have liberals and conservatives. That's what we have here. Then we also have the NDP, which is the new Democratic Party, which doesn't do fuck. It's even more. It's like super progressive, but nobody wants to vote for that. Then we have the Green Party, which is like what Americans also have, and we also have the People's Party of Canada, which is just hardcore truck loving, gun toting, sister fucking conservatives. And it's so split up that we can't even have like a libertarian party where it's just like we have like a third party like Robert Kennedy or something like that. Even our secondary options are split up to the points of nonsense. So you're just stuck voting for one of these people, a non-charismatic wet paint of a sad fart who would be perfect for this country. That's exactly what you want, is an autistic man who loves numbers and no nonsense. That's who you want. But do you know what's way better? A handsome gay fucking pangender guy who loves giving free weed to hippies. That's so much cooler. If he can go up there and drink from his cardboard water bottle things and pander progressive statements in a button-up shirt that he's only buttoned up 3 times, that's what's gonna win, because people just like him as a person. They don't know his policies, because if you just wrote down policies, nobody would vote for him. It's crazy what they would vote. If you just saw what Mr. Pierre gets to see every single day when he just looks at the numbers, because that's what he reads his children to sleep, is the federal budget of Canada. And that you would be sad. You would go, wow, we're spending so... Yes, of course we're going to give free childcare to single moms, but that actually cost $42.3 billion, and we didn't have that. So he just spent money we didn't have to buy votes. Yeah, it's a sad state that we're living in. Yeah, and that's pretty much why we're living in politiocracy at this point. None of it makes sense. None of it's good. None of it's any sort of political discourse happening at any point is nonsense. It's a waste of time, and you should stop listening. You should stop listening to every single person talking about politics, because they're all dumb, including me. Thank you. Good night.